All right, so I've gotten some questions here and there about how to do the perimeter problems on IXL S5 under the geometry section. And so I thought I would share two ways on how to find the perimeter of a triangle, what that is on a grid. Okay, so first of all, the perimeter of our triangle we're going to find by just adding all three of our sides together, adding all three of our lengths together. And if we look at our current triangle here, two of the sides are very easy to find. So from D to E, we have a length or a distance of -8 to +1, which is 9. Right? And you can also just count from D to E 9 spaces. Okay, and then also from D to F, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a length down here of 4. Now the problem is we have our hypotenuse left, sort of this slanted side, and because it is not straight up and down or vertical, and it is not straight left and right or horizontal like the other two sides, we cannot simply just count from E to F to figure out the length. So there's really two ways to figure out the length. And the first way, we can use the distance formula. And number two, we can use Pythagorean's theorem. Okay. Some students prefer distance, some students prefer Pythagorean's theorem. And so I'm going to start by doing the distance formula, and then I'll do the problem again, or I guess finding the missing side again with Pythagorean's theorem. So with distance formula, the formula is just d is in distance or length, right? We just want to find the distance between two points. That's why we call it distance formula. So distance equals square root of, you can do x2 minus x1 all squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared. And the x's and y's are just correlating with our points. So E is at point -2, comma, +1, while F looks like it's at +2, comma, -8. Okay, so we have our points. And just for simplicity's sake, I like to write down which one is x1, which one is x2, et cetera, just so we have an easy reference point. So I'll choose E as the first one. It doesn't matter which you choose, as long as you're consistent. So I'm just going to choose E, and we'll call E x1, comma, y1, and we'll call F x2, comma, y2. And again, you can switch them. You can have the 2's up top and the 1's on the bottom. It really does not matter. You just got to make sure the 1's and the 2's are together. You can't mix and match the 1's and 2's. Okay? So with that, let's go ahead and just plug and chug. We're going to plug them into our square root distance formula. So we have x2. x2 we called +2. So 2 minus x1, which we called -2. So -2. All squared plus y2, we said was -8, minus y1, which we said was +1, so 1, all squared. And now let's go ahead and simplify everything down. 2 minus a -2 just cancels out to 2 plus 2, right, which is 4, all squared, plus -8 minus 1. Two negatives, you combine them, and it just creates a larger negative. So that's just -9, all squared. Bring it down again. 4 squared is just 4 times 4, so 16, plus -9 squared is just -9 times -9, which is a positive 81. So 81. And then we will simplify that down. And we will do 16 plus 81 is what? Square root of 97. Okay, and so we have the square root of 97 as our missing side. And if you can break down the square root of 97 into smaller terms, feel free to do so if you're able to. In fact, IXL will probably tell you you're wrong if you do not, if you don't do that. Now, since we're dealing with IXL, you could just open up your browser, your internet browser, and type in SQRT. I'm doing it right now on my other screen. SQRT, and then parentheses, I'll type in 97. SQRT is square root. Type that in, and it says that simplifies down to 9.84. Okay, so instead of writing the square root of 97 right here for the length, I'll just type in or write 9.84. Okay, now to get the parentheses, not the parentheses, the perimeter, to get the perimeter of our shape, we'll just add 9 plus 4 plus 9.84, and that will be the perimeter. Okay, so that's using the distance formula. Alternatively, you can use Pythagorean's theorem. And I'm going to go ahead and erase this so I have room to do the Pythagorean's theorem. If you need to write this down or you need to look at this again, just rewind the video and you can see it. Okay, so that's a nice feature of all this stuff. So we're going to erase. Erase, erase. Erase. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. And now we will use Pythagorean's theorem. I'll do this one in green just to make things slightly more interesting. Okay, so we have our two vertical, horizontal sides. We still need to find our missing length here, right? I'll erase all this as well. And the other way we can use is we can use Pythagorean's theorem. Pythagorean's theorem, if you guys remember from your other math classes, is going to be a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? And when we're talking about a, b, and c, a is usually referring to the shorter leg of our triangle. So this side right here would be A. B is usually referring to the longer leg of our triangle. So right here would be B. And C is always referring to the hypotenuse of our triangle. So this is C. And how do we know this is the hypotenuse or the slanted side? Well, we always have a right angle down here, that 90-degree angle. And the hypotenuse is always the opposite side of that 90-degree angle. So this side here, this slanted side C, is definitely our hypotenuse. Okay. In a few seconds, by the way, my school bell is going to ring, so don't be alarmed. Just a noise in the background while I'm recording this. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to write Pythagorean's theorem again up here so we can start doing the work. Okay, and there's the bell. Okay, and we can use this formula here to figure out our missing C. And so for a squared, we'll plug in 4, or 4 squared, because we know a is the shorter leg, plus b squared. B we know is 9, so we'll go 9 squared, equals c squared, which we don't know c yet, so we're just going to keep it as c squared. All right, now we're just going to do all of the simplifying. 4 squared is going to be 16, plus 9 squared is going to be 81, equals c squared. All right, simplifying some more. 16 plus 81 is going to be 97, equals c squared. Now remember, we don't want c squared, we want just c, right? That's our missing length, just plain old c. But we are left here with c squared equals 97. So if you guys remember, squaring is the opposite of square rooting. So if we square root a square, then it will just factor down to our original variable. So all we're going to do here is we're going to square root both sides. And so the square root of c squared, the square root and the 2 cancel out, so we are left with c. And then we have the square root of 97, which, hey, this looks familiar, right? This is the exact same answer we got before using the distance formula. And so when you use the do the square root of 97, we just have 9.84, right, equals c. So this length over here, just like we found with the distance formula, is going to be 9.84. And lastly, you know, we did a lot of work there to find a side, but that is not our answer, right? Make sure you don't plug that one into iExcel or it will tell you you are wrong. You want to find the perimeter of this triangle, right? Meaning you have to add 9 plus 4 plus 9.84 together. And once you do that, you will have your final answer, or your perimeter, right? The answer you will plug into iExcel. So when you add all of this together, doing this in my head real quick, looks like we have, what, 22.84. We'll call it units because I don't know what units they're using. And that should be your perimeter in the very end, okay? So hopefully that helps you out. 2 different ways to solve the same problem. Do whatever is easier for you. As you can see, there's a lot of similarities between the two, but just do whatever's going to get you the right answer, okay? And that is where I'm going to end the video. Let me know if you have any more questions.